several years ago, it used to be our first Monday lecture. We used to start out, we used to call it budget lecture. The lecture actually came about by a competition my husband and I did against our partner and her husband. I had just had our third child and had some extra weight I wanted to lose. And so we said, whichever couple loses the most amount of weight in 30 days wins $1,000. And I knew just from my experience what I thought that they could lose in 30 days, and then I knew what I wanted to lose, what I thought we possibly could lose in 30 days. So I did the math. I knew there's 3,500 calories in a pound. Write that down. 3,500 calories in 1 pound. I knew what my BMR is. Now you know what yours is. And again, this is going to be kind of a little bit of a trial and error. Andre, who's been here for several weeks, has been seeing his results based off of what he's doing, as well as and what he's eating, and comparing that. So after time, and again, after what Sione talked about this morning, results over time, you have to give it time, but then you can kind of narrow it down to figure out what those numbers really are. So again, I took my BMR, and I said, okay, here's my BMR, here's the amount of weight I need to lose, and I did the math. So that's what I want to show you today. And then after 30 days of doing this competition, we put it into a budget form. We thought, wow, this is really similar to a financial budget. We kept using terminology like, oh, it's not worth spending that, or I want to save my calories, and started using some of that terminology and put it into this budget form. So that's the way I'm going to teach it today. I'll give you a little bit of an intro of how Jen teaches it on Thursday, but I really felt like it was so necessary to introduce this on Monday. And I loved how on today's lecture, Sione ended with 3 definitions. What were those definitions? Do you remember? You've already forgotten? Maybe he did. He was supposed to. Optimist, pessimist, and realist. So you looked at the definition of today's lecture. We're calling this weight loss reality. And it's interesting how the lecture is kind of evolving, because to me, one of the biggest reasons why I want to go through this is so that we can really have a good understanding of what the weight loss reality is going to look for us. And so I'm going to, do you mind putting this up for a second? So if I knew in that 30 days I needed it was at my last 10 pounds of that pregnancy that I wanted to lose. So I took 10 pounds and times it by 3,500 calories. I needed to get rid of 35,000 calories to lose that 10 pounds in a month. I'm going to show you how that's possible. So my BMR, and I'm going to call this your income. So if I have 35,000 calories of debt, that's the amount of calories I need to get rid of, or that number needs to become 0 if I want to reach my goal. You with me? Yeah? If I need to get rid of that, and I have an income and I have expenses, at the end of the day, I have to have a savings that can go towards paying this off, right? So if I want to get rid of debt, I have 2 choices. I have to do what? Earn more, spend less, right? Now, for me, my income was about 1,500 calories. That was my BMR. You know what your BMRs are on your sheets. That's my income. If I wanted to get this to 0 in, let's say, 30 days, just to keep the math simple, 35,000 divided by 30 days, I have to have a savings of 1166 every single day. Is that possible? I saw his face. He was like, good luck, right? What would I have to do? Income minus, now here's Jen talks about the calories in versus calories out, and I'm going to go into that. So this income, like Robin just explained, is made up of your age, your height, male, female, also yourself. When you take the RMR testing, has anybody done the RMR testing? That looks at the amount of oxygen that your body utilizes. as you breathe. And that depends on genetics. It also depends on your body weight and muscle as well. Your expenses, when we did our competition, we said we're going to have 500 calories for breakfast. We're going to spend those 5 calories at breakfast. We're going to eat 500 calories at lunch and 500 calories at dinner. I was in weight maintenance mode right there. So I thought, wow, what do I have to do now?
Wait a second, what's the expenses?
What you eat.
Okay.
So if I spend 500 calories at breakfast and I eat 500 calories at lunch and 500 calories at dinner, just again to keep the math simple, and to actually during that 30 days, that's what we did. We just had a 500 calorie breakfast, a 500 calorie lunch, and a 500 calorie dinner. So what do I have to do? Exercise. And exercise is work, right? We got another job. We would have to have really this amount in exercise, right? And it's about 100 calories per mile of exercise. So about 11 miles, 7 days a week. Now, how many of you have done the stop sign? Some of our stayovers have done it. That stop sign was our secret weapon. We did the stop sign in the morning and we did the stop sign at night for 30 days. Those of you who haven't done the stop sign yet, you'll do that this week. It's a 4-mile incline over 1,000 feet. It's a hard workout, but I would burn about 600 or 700 calories. Cameron would do about 12 to 1,500 in the morning and again at night. We won that competition by 1.5 pounds. Again, looking at the reality. Now this is a very simple. I would love to take somebody's and use theirs as an example. So Jen talks about this is your in, the amount of calories that you're eating, and this is your out. This is your RMR plus your exercise. We also talk about daily activity as well up in this category. So again, you take the amount of weight that you would like to lose, times it by 3,500. You know what your RMR is, and if you want a better number, more accurate number, you can actually get the gas analyze test. And those of you who work out with heart rate monitors, you can use that tool to determine how many calories you're burning while you exercise. You can use the machines as an estimate. Again, the general guideline is about 100 calories per mile. So if you do a mile in about 15, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, you can say about every 20, 25 minutes I do about 100 calories. That's just a very rough estimate. And again, this is what I would like to segue into tomorrow's lecture. Emily talks about getting your food to work for you, because this is where you'll be successful or not, is how to spend your calories wisely. How many of you have tracked your calories and actually have written down in a food journal and have counted calories? How many of you liked it? Did okay? So we did this very religiously for 30 days, but to make it easy, I ate the same breakfast every single day, the same lunch every day, and the same dinner. So, and Emily, again, will talk tomorrow a little bit about how to look at that in the plate method. Watching more of your portion sizes is another way or another form of counting your calories. So let's do somebody's example. Who wants to be brave?
One question real quick.
Yes,
so
please.
The 1166 is how much you need to lose each day.
Okay, good question. So basically, and think of it as a financial budget. Income minus expenses is what you save at the end of the day, goes towards paying off your debt. So I took my income, which was your RMR, minus what I ate throughout the day is what I saved. So at the end of the day, you've got to have a savings. And that number goes towards paying off your debt. I'll do another example to see if that makes sense for you. Who wants to be brave here?
No, I know where it came from, but I did.
You want a high one or a low one?
Yeah, let's say you want.
Do you want a high?
You want somebody with a high number or a low?
Oh, it doesn't matter. We'll do a couple.
So my, I can tell you what I came here with, or should I tell you where I'm starting now, where I want to be?
Let's do both. Let's do what you came with.
So I arrived here with 293.
Okay.
293 pounds, and I want to get to 220.
220. So a goal weight loss of 73 pounds.
Yes.
Okay, so 73 times 3,500 leaves us with 255,500 calories. That's his debt.
Awesome.
That number needs to get to 0. What was your BMR when you came in?
It's roughly the same still, it's about 2,100.
Okay.
It hasn't really gone up or down off the machine yet.
Okay. Have you had it retested?
I've been getting it every week.
Every week, and that number hasn't gone down much.
It's gone down by like 20 points.
That's a good thing. That means you're
Okay.
maintaining your muscle.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. Okay, so, and we know, and this is the nice thing here, he's getting about 1,500 calories.
Yep.
So he's eating or spending 1,500 calories a day. So he already has a savings of what? 600 calories. Now, you kind of track your calories in exercise with your heart rate monitor. How many calories in exercise are you getting a day?
So when I read my heart monitor, it's between 5,000 and 6,000. I'm going to say roughly 5,500.
Okay, at the end of the day.
5,500 is probably about the average.
So 5,500. I'm going to minus your 2,100 from that. So you're doing about 3,400
That's here,
in
but that's not at
exercise.
home.
No, this is here. So at the end of the day, his heart rate combined says 5,500 calories, correct?
Right, that's what I was told at this point.
Okay, so when you have your polar heart rate monitor on, you put it on the beginning of the day, that's counting your RMR as well, and your exercise. So at the end of the day, he's here, and he's getting about this much in exercise. 3,400 calories in exercise, which makes sense with the amount of exercise that he's doing. So now we can take 5,500 minus 1,500. So he's saving about 4,000 calories a day. Times that by 7 days. Is that your average weight loss? 8 pounds a week
Yeah.
on average?
I am just, yeah.
Okay, so the 4,000 times 7 days. So we kind of went backwards a little bit just because we had his information.
It actually comes out to being a little less than like Sunday is off.
Right.
And I literally do nothing on Sunday.
Right. But what has your average weight loss been?
About 7, I would say.
7. Okay.
7.5.
Well, that would add up.
Yeah.
That's one less day. So did you see how we kind of did that a little bit? We went backwards though because we knew these numbers and plugged them in. Now let's go forward and say where you're at now and say you've got X amount of weeks left here.
Yeah, so I'll give you the example I'd like to do for home because I've
Okay.
figured this out in my head myself.
Okay.
Let's just say for purposes of the example, I leave here at 250, even though I'm going to be under 250 when I leave.
Okay.
I want to get to 220, and at home, I've been trying to figure out in my head how I'm going to make that work.
Okay, so 30 more pounds when you get home. So 30 pounds times 3,500 is 105,000. Now, you can do this a couple different ways. I can ask him and say, how fast do you want to lose that? And then I can tell you what you have to do. Or you tell me what you can do and I'll tell you how fast you should be able to see it.
I probably should do the latter.
Okay, so you tell me, we know, did you say 2,100?
2,100 is my BMR.
Okay. BMR, RMR, they're interchangeable. You'll hear it on your paper. It says basal metabolic rate, right? Now, do you have? This is the key right here.
Yeah.
How are you going to spend those calories? What is your plan going home? A lot of people say, "Oh, I'm just going to eat what I ate here." How many of you have been here, just real quick, and have gone home before? Linda, you have.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and I love having people experience that and break it up a little bit because it seems easy, right? But the hard part is this latter part here, is learning how to spend those calories wisely. What's your plan?
My current plan.
Okay.
So everybody's been watching. I take a picture every day.
Oh, good.
So I know exactly. I'm a visual person.
Good.
My current plan is actually to try to eat my 2,100 calories or less.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm not going to try to eat 1,500 and then I'm gonna try to actually just gauge how much I've eaten here,
Okay,
and that gives me a 600 calorie window of, messing up.
sure.
So I'm gonna try to just eat.
Now, have you talked
better
about
less.
how you're gonna distribute those between breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
Yeah, so the breakfasts here are actually pretty close to what I like to eat at home anyway.
Okay.
Which is like 2 eggs and some vegetables.
So
and,
around 400 calories? 300?
300 here
Okay.
at breakfast. Dinner, I'm actually also pretty good with. I can probably keep it into the 400 range, maybe even 500.
Okay,
Lunch is the one that kills me. Because usually
Okay.
I'm at work or
Going out.
going out or other stuff.
okay.
So that's
You-
the one I
you-
struggle with.
Probably have snacks in here as well, or?
No, lunch. I do drink beer at lunch. Even though I work.
Nice job.
Okay, so you're gonna leave yourself 1,700 calories here?
Wow, that's a lot.
It is a lot.
No, I
Okay.
wanna try to keep
I'm
it
just-
in range. Yeah, distribute that between lunch and dinner.
Okay, so,
500 for each.
That's only 1,400 anyway.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, it was 1400.
It was 1,400.
so this would be 900 here and 900 here
Okay.
to give you the
Awesome.
2,100. And again, we're just playing around with this. I always, in fact, during that competition, I really like to save 100 calories in the evening because we
Okay.
ate like at 5 or 6. I was dying for dinner. I was ready for dinner. But then if we were up late, instead of eating something else, I'd leave myself a little 100 calorie, even if it was just a fudge popsicle or something that was not necessarily nutritionally valuable, but just something I could look forward to, even if it was air popped popcorn, something to keep me from overeating.
And for the record, by the way, I'm not looking to always eat that much. I'm giving myself that much or less. That's what I'm trying to do. So
Right.
showing us that number is what I'm gauging for.
Okay, so you'll
Then I
have
figure
you'll have a
exercise.
0 here,
Exactly.
and then tell me what your plan is exercise wise.
4 miles in the morning,
Okay,
maybe hopefully a 5-minute, 6-minute mile.
okay.
So,
So do
kind of
you-
like our 5K, the 10K.
And when you have your polar on at the end of the 5K, how many calories have you burned?
We just did the mountain thing. That was 627.
Okay, that was in a 45-minute time period.
I was on the treadmill. I was not
Okay.
running.
So again, you can see where we're going with this. You're going to be about 600 calories in the morning.
Mhm.
Okay, that's your plan. How many days a week?
3 days a week, hopefully 4, and then a hike on Saturdays with my wife.
How long do you think that hike?
The same 2 hours, like 2 hours, the same kind of thing we do here.
Okay,
She's a
so
hiker.
1,200.
Yes, I actually burned more than that on these hikes here, but they're pretty aggressive hikes. So what is fine.
Okay, and again, you don't have to be as nitpicky as this, but what you can see is 600 times 3 days a week. And if you do 4, great. Plus the 1,800, and I'm gonna divide that by 7 days. So he's gonna have an average of 514 more calories of exercise. See how I did that? That was your, in a week's period of time divided by
You can
7.
lose a pound a week.
Pound a week.
So 2,100 plus the average in
I think you should just live
exercise
here.
is a total of 2,614 minus the 2,100 gives us a savings of 514 calories a day. That times 7 days a week is 35.98,
So roughly a pound.
roughly a pound a week. So you should be able to. So, having done the math for him, and I love to sit down and do it individually with people because for everybody it's so different. He knew way more than most people.
I've had a long time thinking about this.
To the calories, yes. So again, his RMR, he's like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do exercise-wise, this is what I can do meal-wise, and again, about a pound. So if you go home and you stick to this exercise and you stick to this meal plan, you should see about a pound a week. And you should be able to do that in 30 days.
30 weeks.
30 weeks,
Yeah, no,
not
and
30 days.
So
I mean
the
30
thing for me
weeks.
would then probably would be to try to eat less, but maintain the exercise.
Okay, now I love how we did that. So he has 30 pounds left, and how much have you lost here?
35.
So 35 pounds in how long?
So 5 weeks.
5 weeks, and it's gonna take him 30 weeks to lose that 30 pounds at home. It's a big difference.
But he has a decent body frame where if he gains muscle, he could get more arm.
He
Right.
could. His arm arc could go up a bit. Yes. Okay. Now is that helpful?
Yeah, it's very helpful.
So again, this is key here. If you do these things and this, then about 30 weeks. If you want to see it faster, then you can look at, okay, I got to work more or I could cut back less. Or both. Or both. So you can start plugging in the numbers. Let's do somebody who is a little less
Well, what if you
knowledgeable?
don't know your numbers for your exercise?
We'll talk about them. Look, we can estimate, and then as you're here this week, you can learn more and kind of get to know your body a little bit more. I love using a lot. The VO2 test is awesome because you have a gas mask on, and it's telling you how many calories you're burning per minute at specific heart rates. So it's that detailed. You can go to that extent. You can do the heart rate monitor and put in your age, your weight, your height, male, female, and it's going to give you an estimate on the amount of calories you're burning during exercise. You can even just use the treadmill. You know how on the machines it can tell you how many calories you burned in your 40 minutes. You start to learn your body. You start to understand, okay, and you start to also have a more realistic approach to the exercise. You know, instead of just being like, oh, I want to, I hope I'm losing a pound this week. I've worked really hard and I haven't eaten anything. And then you get on the scale and you've gained. So it's very frustrating. It's very hard. If you don't go with this into it with a realist approach and know, okay, it's not, if I'm on the, treading class that you do on Thursday or any of the classes, for example, I used to always say, okay, who wants a candy bar at the end of the class? Because that's really, and it's like, man, I worked so hard, it's not worth it anymore. I'll tell you, our mindset changed when we did that 30-day competition, because when we went to eat something, we thought, oh, it's so not worth it. It's not because I can't have anymore. It becomes it's not worth it anymore. And we start thinking a little bit differently about what's going in and what's going out. Let's do a couple other examples, and then I want to talk a little bit more, segueing into the rest of the lectures throughout the week. We've got a few minutes. Yes.
Can we do mine? Because I'm like totally lost.
Yes,
I have no
absolutely.
idea where we're going with this.
Tell me your name.
Al,
Al?
Yes.
Okay. Al, tell me the amount of weight you would love to lose.
10 pounds.
10 pounds, so 35,000 calories is your debt. Now, what does your BMR say?
15, 12.
15, 12. Okay. You can see, where do we go from here? This is his debt. Is there a certain amount of time you would like to lose it in, or do you want to kind of go by and say what's realistic for you to do at home?
Well, I would rather drop it here in a week, if that's possible. But
Okay,
it's
well,
too
should we
much.
see if it's possible? In fact, I love that you, I've had a lot of guests. In fact, Elaine, she was here for 9 months. She lost 100 pounds.
Wow.
And her last 5 weeks, she's like, I really love to lose 25 pounds. And I said, okay, let's do the math. And I said, at the end of the day, your heart rate monitor has to say 5,000 calories. Guess how many days she did that? The first day, she's like, I can't do that. Like, okay, let's change the goal then. So this is why it's so important, not and not to have you start being obsessive with counting calories. In fact, the way Emily teaches tomorrow, I think it's this has to be a lifestyle. Now, of course, you can be real sure of what those calories are until you reach that goal. And it's super helpful at first, if you've never counted calories, to start turning the label over and saying, oh, wow, that's 900 calories, not worth it. This is my budget. This is what I have. This is what I've allotted for myself. So it's super helpful at first, but tomorrow when Emily talks about, instead of being obsessive with the calories, learning the portion sizes, being able to look at your plate and saying, okay, that's about 1,200 calories if I stick within these portions. Anyway, so should we do the math on this week, Robin? What do you think?
Yeah.
3,500 you've got today, Monday through Saturday. You leave Sunday morning, right? So divided by 6 days. I did that wrong. So 35,000 divided by 6. He needs a savings of 5,833 calories a day.
Is that doable?
Well, you tell me.
I thought it was a little. I was waiting for you to come into this class when you told me
Right.
what your goal was. For
It's
the
about
week.
58 miles of exercise a day.
Darn.
58 miles of exercise
That's a lot of
because basically, I mean, the meal plan, yes, you could eat less. Here's the thing you run into. I mean, you've got to be able to physically have the energy to do the exercise as well. So if he's eating the meal plan as it's designed to give you the right amount of nutrients that your body needs, you've got to come up with this in exercise,
Wow.
which is about 58 miles of exercise a day.
I had 4 in today.
4 miles
No,
of
4 miles there, yeah.
about 4
You're
miles
on your
done.
way.
I got back on the
So,
bucket.
but you can't, I lost 9.5
did
in my
you?
first week, so you can do it.
Now,
Yeah,
let's
you're
talk
gonna
about
be
this.
able to do
You
that.
don't compare, don't compare.
You can't compare. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. What is your BMR?
I don't know.
You don't know what your
Well,
body
look at
says?
him to Andre, because Andre probably lost close to that. your
Andre's
first
RMR
week.
is
Yeah, I lost about
this.
8 pounds.
Yeah.
My first
So
result.
he already has a pound a week on you, just with this number. And a lot of people say, well, how come on the show they lose 10, 15 pounds? And have you seen their RMRs? Their RMRs are as high as 4,500 calories. So just by eating 1,000, they've lost a pound a day just with the nutrition.
Is that because they're heavier or because they're younger?
They're heavier.
And
It's heavier.
And
Yeah.
younger
So are
age.
they picking people with high?
Yes. Well, they have large amounts of weight, which basically you have a higher RMR. So they don't do the basic. When you have more weight, your body requires more calories to just move through space.
Yeah.
So your RMR goes up. So as you lose weight, what happens? Your RMR goes down. Why is it so hard? In fact, one of my favorite examples was a guest who wanted to lose 5 pounds. She was so close to her goal weight, and everybody was mad at her for it. But we did the math, and she knew exactly what she was eating and what she was doing. Actually, she was exercising every day, and she's like, "Why can't I do it?" And we did the math, and it showed like it was going to take her, I think, a year to lose that 5 pounds based off of what she was doing. So we were able. So to me, I feel like it takes away some of the frustration when you're not reaching your goals because you understand the math. It's not because you're not working hard enough. It's not because you're eating too much. To me, if you have, just in general, go over this a little bit on Thursday as well, but just 200 extra calories a day, which is a granola bar, is 20 pounds in a year.
Yeah.
So just a small difference. It doesn't take huge Thanksgiving dinners every day to gain weight. I have people come up to me all the time and say, well, I really don't eat that much. I said, unfortunately, we don't have to eat that much to gain weight. It adds up. Every little bit adds up. Now, in the reverse, just 200 less a day with no added exercise,
Yeah.
who wouldn't love to have lost 20 pounds in a year by just doing a small change like that?
Michelle,
I erased your numbers. We didn't finish it. I want to finish it.
just a question then. As you lose weight and that number goes down, if you build up muscle mass, won't that help that go back up?
It will. It'll
always
keep
go
it down. It's only there is a point where it does pretty much. I mean, it's you. Very rarely do we see under 1,200, 1,100 if you're real small.
Jim?
Yeah, she's around 11 something. I don't know if she's done it super. I think she's done it recently as well. But yeah, between 11 and 1,200 is about as low as it will go. But so yes, but keeping your muscle up will help it from going down. That's why I said, hey, it's great to not see that thing go down. The gal who lost 100 pounds here, her biggest achievement was the fact that her RMR only went down. Do you remember? I want to say 100 calories at the most. It was very small because she had increased her muscle quite a bit. So you can't avoid that from going down too much. But once you reach a certain size,
Yeah.
your body doesn't need that many calories, lean or not. It doesn't need a lot of calories the smaller you get. Okay, so 15, what was it? 15?
15, 12.
15, 12. We gotta give them those extra two. Okay, so now we can look at this a little bit differently. Realistically, you're eating the meal plan. And here you're going to be probably on average, what would you say? About 12 or 2,000, 2,500. What did you do in exercise? You did 3,500.
But he's gonna burn more in
I know,
exercise.
right, than he will.
Compared to you.
I give it my hardest, but.
Yeah, but
But just your size.
The bigger you are, the faster it's gonna
Okay, so my husband and I, we go side by side in our exercise. And he always burns 500 to 600 calories more than I do. And
Colby on the hikes is always mad at me because she looks at her watch and she's only burned 500. I look at my watch and I burn 1,800.
1,800. It's a big difference.
Right.
So the larger, the more weight you have or the more muscle you have, the taller you are. If you're a guy, you're going to burn more calories while you're exercising. The smaller you are, the shorter you are. If you're a female, if you have less body or muscle, you're going to be burning less. It's all individual. That's why we cannot compare. And it's never black and white. Every time, and I've had 6 children, and this has always been my way to getting all my weight off, was the math. But every single time when I started exercising, it took at least 2 weeks for me to see anything. In fact, almost my first week, I always gained. So it's never going to be, and Sione talks about it like a paycheck. You don't always get paid the day you work. Sometimes you get paid 2 weeks later. It's never black and white.
But for Al, he has to burn 3,500 calories extra in exercise to get his 5 pounds, but not 10, right?
To do 5 pounds this week.
Right.
3,500 calories.
You have to get 3,500 extra.
3,500 calories in exercise, which you could
So
do.
realistically,
You
I
could do.
should be able to lose 10 pounds in a month, you say?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's more realistic
Yeah.
than
Yes.
trying for this
It's a lot
week.
more
6
realistic.
days.
So again, and I'm going to let you go in just a minute, but I actually spent way more time focusing on the calories than I wanted to. What I wanted, one of the things I wanted to get out of this was the fact of making realistic goals will help you be more successful. Becoming a realist, what it really looks like to the calories in versus the calories out. Now the other thing that I wanted to just emphasize and segue into Emily's lecture, I promise you, not only to lose the weight itself, but to keep it off and make it a lifestyle, this is where we want to be spending our time becoming educated and learning what we spend those calories on. Because you're not going to and that's why a lot of times these fad diets never work. It's because you stop doing it and then you go back to the same thing. You've got to be able to choose foods that you can do for the rest of your life. Again, counting calories, I think it's beneficial at first. One of Jen's things, she talks about 2 to 30 days of just writing things down and becoming aware of what you're eating, looking at the things that we drink. There's a lot of calories in our drinks, and deciding, is that worth it or not? And then also tomorrow, Emily's going to be talking a little bit more about the plate method and adding more vegetables, because the key here, and the reason why we hear all the time, well, God, I feel great. I feel pretty full. I mean, every once in a while, I'm sure you feel maybe a little sluggish or you could eat more, but way more satisfied than 1,200 calories at home. How many of you have gone home and have felt that? We hear that from guests all the time. The reason why is because we are bulking up your calories with I want to make sure I say it right, low calorie but high density foods that make you feel full, that make you feel satisfied. That is the key to your success, is spending and choosing your calories wisely. Even with a financial budget, right? That's the key, is cutting back and finding and spending your calories more wisely. Yes, we can work harder, get a second job, but again, those expenses are where you're going to see a big difference. And then also setting goals. Again, Jen will follow up with this. I know it's Monday. I know it's a lot of information. It's like, oh, that's so much to think about. She'll actually even talk about it in a little different way of calories in versus calories out. But again, think about it with the reality model, and then also Emily's lecture tomorrow in the spending your calories wisely. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Have a fabulous week.